Hi, it's Greg from TrumpTrader.com. What I'd like to do today for you is a lesson on how to draw proper trend lines and how to use them. So first thing, we're looking at the pound yen on the daily time frame, and basically to draw a trend line, you just take proven resistance points and just draw a line through them. It's basically connecting the dots in a very simple way. There's wrong ways of doing it, but I don't know how to do the wrong way. I just know the right way. So I'm going to teach you the right way to do it. So what you look for is just look for common patterns in all of any currency, but for this currency, the pound yen, I see a pattern here on the daily, and it's going to be roughly like this. You could do a little more accurate, but roughly like that. This is the trend line path that he was following to make new highs. This is from early January up until mid-August, and that trend line lasted that long. So it was obviously broken end of August, but for the most part, it was good for at least a 6-month stint there. So this is a path that is actually followed getting up, but there's also targets that you could reach to, and you could draw a rough way of targets, and this is something like that, or you can move it a bit, and it would be something like that. And these would be your targets for your take profits, or even shorting, or if you're doing a short on the counter trend, it's all up to your trading and how much you can handle. But for the most part, this is the channel trend that we're looking at. Some people call it different things, but I call it a channel, and this is the path that is just going a certain place. Now we're looking at the daily time frame. I can say that this channel strategy or this trend line strategy, I don't even know if it's a strategy, but it happens on any time frame, whether you look at a day, a week, an hour, 5 minute, 1 minute. It just works on every time frame. And what a channel is that it's a tool the price uses to get to its target price. Well, we never really know what the target price is until the channel's done. But in this case, you can see the target price was pretty much 162.58 in this instance. And that was the target price. We know that now because it broke out of the channel. And that's kind of an afterthought of you don't really know. So if you ended up buying here, you don't really know if it's going to reach all the way up to the top of that channel. But that's why you take what you can in the market. And that's sometimes taking a profit of half of that channel. But there was a clue that it wasn't really going to reach that high, and that's because of this breakout here. And there's little tricks like that you can learn. But let's, for example, let's move into the 3-hour. And this channel might not be so clear, but it was there. It's going to be a little bit rougher, and it is not going to be as smooth. But there is a channel there, and it was roughly like this. You can see the channel here, broke out here. You can see the congestion in the resistance here, and it broke through, and that was some heavy downward pressure there. And right now, it's not really in a channel. It's kind of in a triangle, and I call these continuation flag triangles, or there's different terms. There's a pennant term, but pretty much it's in this channel here, this channel pennant, whatever you want to call it. And this is basically a breakout or a continuation pattern, but you don't really know if it's going to go up or down. So what you watch for the price to do is break out between these two lines with strength, mind you. So if the price comes back up here and beats this old previous point at 144.24, then you would look at getting in on an entry for a long and ride that up until it creates its new trend line. And that target could be here. It could be the old resistance. So you always have to make sure that you pay attention to old resistance line because they're still in use, and they can be in use for months and months and months, sometimes even years, depending on how far back you're looking. And that's kind of the trick for that. So let's even look at the 15-minute trend line here. I haven't looked at this chart today, but there really isn't much for a trending market. It's kind of in a sideways market. You can kind of see it in whoops, I drew the wrong one there. The horizontal here is you can see the price here. This is an obvious resistance point, It doesn't like it below this 141, roughly 0 0, and it kept bouncing off it, and it beat this high. You can see the peak here. There's some selling pressure here, and it beat that. So this could be easily bouncing off of this peak here. This price could be coming down here and be taking off. So right now you have to realize that we're not in really a trending market. It's not trying to go too high or too low. It's just kind of going sideways, up and down, and that's how you do that. There are a couple tricks that you can learn about these trend lines that work pretty well. So for example, I'm on the 5-minute timeline now. I'm going to draw myself another trend line and show you a couple things. Just going to draw a rough channel trend here. You can always kind of see these, and you can see the price always tends to come back down, and that's when people have reached their target, and then the selling pressure resumes, and then the buying pressure resumes. It's just people making their profit, and these people are obviously the big banks and institutions, and their target is reached, and they push the price back up, and they make their target, and blah blah blah. And that's basically how price works on any type of market. But once a price is broken, well, then what's going to happen? Well, you can look for old resistances, which this might be the old resistance, or one that we haven't noticed yet. That's what happens when the channel breaks out. Some very interesting things. Anyways, this is just a rough kind of basic of how to draw some trend lines. This is just the pound yen. If you guys are more interested, feel free to let me know. I can do a more advanced lesson on how to draw trend lines and how to use them and things to watch out for. Just let me know and I'll make them. My next lesson I'll do probably in a few days. On the weekend I'll have some free time, so we'll talk to you then.